What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Executives View. This is the view from on top. You could be anywhere in the world on a Sunday, but you're here with the executives, and I do appreciate that. We are actually here to talk about the PLE that took place yesterday, but you guys know how I get started. If you see the show, share the show. We're all over the Facebook, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Spotify. We're doing big things in big places. Definitely want to take you all along with us, man. I got a full group. I'm going to get these guys in and out. So we can get the party started, man. My co-host needs no introduction from me because I hate his guts, but Villain is in the building. What's going on, Villain? How we doing, sir?
Why would you say that, man? Villain is in the house. Why would you say that? Because I love you, serious. I love
you. Oh, my goodness. My man, Steve, Coach is in the building. What's going on, Coach? How we doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. Ready to get started and talk about this PLE.
Yo, my man Aaron from the Nonsense the Deep Thought podcast, man. We had to bring him back for round 2, man. What's up, my guy? How we doing, sir?
You know I love you if I'm giving up my bills to come hang out with you guys. I got it on the screen here, so try to keep me on task.
Here's the thing, man. I think this is a better watch because the Bills, I'm not doing this with you today. I'm not doing this with you today.
Don't forget, we still got that bet.
We do. We really do. Wow. And my sister, y'all know her from the chat, but we finally got her on screen. Stacey's in the building. What's going on, Stacey? How we doing, ma'am?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for having me. Excited to chat it up.
Let's get it in, man. Let's get it in. Shout out to everybody who's been watching us online and everything, man. We got a lot to talk about, man. First and foremost, War Games took place in Canada this past week, and the crowd was non-existent. I think this is one of the worst crowds that I have seen. The pop was non-existent for any of the stars, whether it's LA Knight, CM Punk, Roman Reigns. It was just non-existent. They didn't really feel like they got involved with the matches. But I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to start there, kind of get our feet wet before we start breaking down these matches piece by piece. Coach, in the group thread, you kind of brought this to our attention, so I'm going to let you bat lead off here, sir. This crowd was horrible, man. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, and it's funny because, these international crowds have been fantastic. Now, do you really call Canada an international crowd? I mean, whatever. They're our neighbors to the north, but still, it's a non-American crowd. Non-American crowds have been hot. We all saw what happened in Lyon, and then Berlin was on fire. Glasgow was amazing, and it's just I noticed it right away because when Rhea Ripley comes out and it's just kind of like, oh,
right.
I expected the root, and I was like, something's not right. And people like, oh, the time difference. It was in the middle of the afternoon in Vancouver.
Right.
They're not overseas. They're 3 hours behind me here on the East Coast. It's like it was the middle of the day. So they had no excuse. I don't know if the Canucks game ran late the previous night before. I don't know what was going on. It was just very little energy from this non-American crowd, and we'll talk about this. It's funny because it's like the road to WrestleMania is filled with all these international dates. And that's something that I just want to think that's something that just kind of like a light bulb popped over my head when I was like, here we are. We have an international crowd not really giving its best. And it's just like now, because it's funny because you used to get hunger from them because they really went over there. But now I feel like with the WWE going over there more regularly, it's just like, oh, who cares? It's just like whatever. But I don't know what was going on with that Vancouver crowd, but we'll see. That Toronto crowd will probably be much livelier down the road, but that Vancouver crowd was not great.
It was pitiful. I wanted to touch on something briefly. Stacey and I talk regularly, and we were talking at length about the international PLEs and kind of how that looks. But we'll get that. We'll get that down the road. Yo, Aaron, this crowd was horrible, my guy. What'd you think about it?
Crowds were flat. I'm going to jump off of Steve's comment. The Canadian crowd really is an international crowd. Like he said, there are neighbors to the north. I think they should compare them to the across the ponds crowd. Germany, all those countries over there seem to bring it when it comes to the noise and everything else. Vancouver was very dead. Toronto's a little better. Sami Zayn is usually the one that they really pop for, obviously, because he's
Really
their
was the
hometown
only
boy.
one. They hit the let's go
Correct.
perfectly. You
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
He hit him last night, but I mean, the Canadian crowds typically aren't as energetic as the ones over Great Britain or Germany or anything else. So disappointed with the feel of it. I think it kind of brought the PLA down as a whole.
I feel it. Stacey, man, I wanted to get your opinion on it, man. The crowd was pitiful. You and I were texting back and forth watching the PLE. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. You know, watch the pregame, and they showed a guy that's a huge fan, travels all over the U.S. as a Canadian, and he hyped it and said they were going to bring it because they're trying to get a WrestleMania. He talked about it being the biggest show they'd ever have, that they'd been campaigning for it, and they were going to bring it, and it was terrible. I mean, there was nothing exciting. Even in the spots where there were big moves, big plays, there was not a lot of yelling. There was no excitement. As you could see the crowd outside the cages, everything, nobody was even talking. When you think of Canadians being nice, they were nice. They kind of clapped a little bit. There was no screaming. There was no excitement or exuberance. It was really frustrating.
Yeah. I was waiting for them to get involved because, like you alluded to, there were a lot of spots. And we'll talk about these spots throughout while we break down the matches. But there were a lot of moments when I'm sitting at my couch screaming. I'm doing flips or whatever. My kids are, out of the house, so I had to liberty to do that. But if we sitting here in our respective homes and we're celebrating Io Sky flipping off of the top of the cage with a trash can over her head, and they're like, "Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful." Like, what in the world what are we talking about right here? Villain, talk to me, my guy, man. It seems to be the consensus that the crowds were pitiful, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of say your piece on it, man. How'd you feel?
I thought the crowd was good. I didn't think it was great. I don't want to double. I'm not trying to double down or discredit what everybody's saying because I do agree with them. I thought the crowd was flat at moments. I think it was a mistake not having Kevin Owens on the card because he's Canadian. I thought that would have helped. I thought Zayn had a good pop. It was funny because when LA Knight came out, they had the meter up and it was like barely hitting.
And they took it down real quick. They took it off the screen real quick.
Which was funny because I was like, well, wait. My daughter was like, what's that? And I was like, that's the meter for the noise. Like, oh. And so, she didn't care. And then I was like, well, wait. And she was like, wait until Yeet comes out. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And then Yeet comes out and I didn't really see the meter. So I'm like, they must have known. It was funny. You see videos of people in the crowd. And when Bronson has his big spot, you hear the crowd go, a couple guys go, holy. Yeah. But then it was it. It was only like a couple guys, right? So it's like, that was what kind of was what throwing me off. The spots were the crowd kind of started to get into it a little bit. You heard a little bit of the chanting. You heard like, this is awesome, but you didn't hear that raucous, this is awesome. So I thought it was a good crowd. I didn't think it was a great crowd. I don't think Vancouver's a spot for a WrestleMania. I think Toronto and Montreal would have been better. Those crowds are usually much better on the other side of Canada. But yeah, I'm not going to kill the crowd as a whole. I thought there was a little energy, but not a lot. This just wasn't enough for me.
I can respect it. My thing is this: like, if you're gonna do a PLE in a city like Vancouver, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to bring that energy, in my opinion. And I just honestly felt throughout the whole night. I mean, I hear your point, Villain, but I just felt that when you come off of Crown Jewel, when you come off of all these other international PLEs, and literally the crowd was eating out of their hand. Like, they could have, it was insane. We've been on shows before and we talked about how the crowd sold it. Like, we've seen Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns and hell, even NXT with bigger pop than what we got yesterday for War Games. So I just felt that was an opportunity missed for the men and women in that city if they wanted to legitimately get a WrestleMania, if they wanted to legitimately get another PLE. You didn't act like you wanted it because you were just sitting there like you were in Catholic church, just not moving, not talking much. But I digress.
I have three things I want to get in while we're talking about crowds and pops and venues and stuff like that. Real quick. One thing is like, in Japan. If you've ever watched a wrestling show in Japan, they watch wrestling like you go to the opera, like you go to the theater. The arena's very dark. They're very quiet, respectful. And at the end of the match, it's like, bravo, bravo, bravo. I expect that from a Japanese crowd. I don't expect that from a Canadian crowd or anywhere else, because in Japan, they revere wrestling so much for what it is, you know, as entertainment and sport, that they're quiet until, you know, during the match or whatever. Like, so I expect that, you know, but I don't expect that anywhere else. Number two thing I had to say was, I feel like they should do the big four like the Super Bowl. Like, have a rotation, have them, you know, in the same couple of places or whatever like that. Survivor Series, of you didn't know any better, you would think Survivor Series, oh, this is just another, no, it's one of the pillars.
Yes.
It is one of the pay-per-views. It is, for me personally, I mean, when you look at it historically, it is right behind WrestleMania. It is like Survivor Series is right there. You know, it's and the fact that Survivor Series is in this state where it's just like ho hum, whatever like that. And speaking of venues, you know, I think like something like Survivor Series should be in Chicago. Just lock it in. Just let Survivor Series just always be in Chicago.
And that's another thing. Like, we were spoiled off of last year's Survivor Series. I mean, obviously with Punk coming back and
Randy.
Randy coming back and that whole thing. I'm not sure I would go that far to put it in Chicago every year, but I think it needs to be in a place where the powers that be understand that the crowd understands the assignment. Like,
I mean, but like I said, like the Super Bowl, rotate it. Do like Chicago, Philly, Atlanta, you know, like New York. Just kind of like,
you know what the problem is, Coach? Survivor Series is the second longest big pay-per-view in WWE, right? WrestleMania is number one. Survivor Series was the second one, right? Then Royal Rumble, and then SummerSlam. But they've switched it. They've made SummerSlam the mini WrestleMania.
Yeah, SummerSlam's the second big one now, yes.
And then Royal Rumble is where you catapult into WrestleMania now. But Survivor Series was always the one that started the road to WrestleMania. And I think they've kind of lost that a little bit, especially with this show, right? And that's what I'm going to gripe about a little bit later. But like, it's now the fourth of the big, right? It's like if you had the like Fiesta Bowl, you had the Rose Bowl, you know, it would be like the Sun Bowl. I don't know, right? It would be like the lesser of the big bowls, and I think that's a problem.
Well, I think that, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but I think that Hunter's going to do some big things going up with the international market to make it so the four pillars will be the only choices, and I think they will all four turn into major long weekend events. I think that's why they're doing with SummerSlam this year. I think that's why they went to WrestleMania, and I think we're going to get to the next 5 years where all four will be the same vibe on all four pillars.
But let me ask you this question, Stacey, and again, we can move in a minute. Do you think the Netflix move in January kind of plays into what you're talking about? Because we understand it as the Netflix in January is going to be mini PLEs. Again, you and I spoke about this, previously. So with there being no time limits, Triple H's long storytelling can kind of really take off there. The cross promotion between Raw superstars and SmackDown superstars and all that's going to be interwoven into everything. Do you think that may play a factor into what you're speaking about as making the four pillars be the four pillars and everything else going international?
Absolutely, because I think what will happen is with Netflix being unlimited, that'll be the only way that you can see in some of these smaller regional areas, right? Like a Greensboro, a Greenville, these smaller places, they will host the Monday Night Raws, right? That'll be when you take your kids, that's what you do, you get the bros together and you go. They're going to make it so the other PLEs for the year will be all international. So the only major events we'll have are the four pillars. So when the four pillars happen, it is going to be our Super Bowls. It's going to be a 3-night event. They'll have Friday night. They'll have a Saturday night and a Sunday night for the PLE, and then a Monday Raw right in the area. And that's when you plan for it, right? Those will be the opportunities where you'll say, okay, family, we're going to save for this. This is going to be an investment. And that's how he'll make all four of those pillars regional, to your point, Steve, that they'll be in 4 different areas. So each of the 4 quadrants of the United States, each one will host a PLE. And you'll just know that that's coming in your area. You're going to take the fam. It's going to be a whole event. It's going to be a Super Bowl 4 times a year. And then that way, because the taste for those that couldn't do it financially are the Raws. And then everything else is international. So that way, then they can make those international spots mini WrestleManias in Germany, in Dubai. So they know that's going to happen once a year and it's going to be huge. So he's actually making it so financially for the company, it's a big pop everywhere they go because those specific areas can plan for a big event. It's genius.
And I think this is the last time you're going to see a Survivor Series in an arena, like 17,000. Like I really feel like you got to give Cleveland credit. They did a hell of a job with SummerSlam this year.
They did.
So I think you have to move the big four, to Stacey's point, to be regional, but then you have to move it to an arena, like a big, not arena, but to a stadium, right? An indoor and outdoor stadium. And you gotta sell it. Like I felt like it just didn't get sold like it should have. But you know, we can talk about that.
Did you feel like it was more rushed than anything? Like it was thrown together?
I think the Bloodline storyline was kind of rushed.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I think the women's War Games was not rushed, but I think they didn't have time to breathe. And I think the cards, the build-up cards, honestly, there was not a card. The only one that was built up really was the Bloodline for months since SummerSlam. But the other matches, there was really like the Intercontinental match, 2-week build-up max.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
The U.S. title match, 1 week.
3 weeks. It was 3 weeks. Again, we'll talk about it here in a minute. You know, but I personally felt that it was rushed, but we'll get to that in a minute. So speaking of that, you want to say something, Steve?
No, I'm just saying because I mean, look, Crown Jewel. I'll just continue to say it because you didn't get enough time to breathe from that to set up everything, and it's just like, but they have to do. I mean, they still want that oil money, so they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah. So with that being said, wanted to dive into the matches. The first one was the War Game women's match, Rhea Ripley's team versus Liv Morgan's team. I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to speak on that. Rhea Ripley's team came out winners. And I honestly felt as though that was one of the best matches of the day. I felt as though these ladies kind of stole the show, if you will. But I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to talk about it. Since we have a lady present, I'm going to let her go first since we're talking about the women. Stacey, talk to me, man. How you feel?
Oh, I loved it. It was great. It was a great way to start. Unfortunately, I think it was such a great way to start that the rest of it seemed a little lackluster. I agree that, you know, it's hard to build the storyline and put everybody together. I think even in the post show, there was an opportunity for them to hint on what's going on with all the sidelines, the Bianca Jade stuff, hitting on Bailey. But I think the match itself was great. It was hyped. There was always something going. And in comparison, you know, and then we'll talk about it later, the Bloodline match, the ladies were all going at every single angle, every single time. There were 2 or 3 things happening at the whole time. So you couldn't keep up to watch. It was just great. Gosh, watching EO with the trash can again. I mean, I was screaming. It was wonderful. I mean, it was just truly good versus evil. Loved watching the way they came out. I think the only thing I would say is I did not necessarily like Nia being the first one out because she just couldn't give it. Her and Bailey.
Yeah.
Bailey was trying so hard and she could not give it. So
Bailey
that was a
was
little
telling her the
disappointing.
moves.
I know.
Bailey was telling her moves.
I know.
And that's why we love Bailey. Bailey's
Yeah.
she is a ring general. You know what I'm saying, in every sense of the word, because you could hear her like barking out orders.
Yeah.
It was just like crazy.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I got other reasons for loving Bailey.
I do too.
I love it, but that's the heel's job. The heel's supposed to do that, not the face, and that was the problem. But I don't want to step on stage. I got my own pin. Okay.
Oh no, I agree. But I mean, she was not the first one in. It should have been maybe a Tiffany. Tiffany, because she's teetering on whether she's going to be a heel or a face. That would have been a good lead in to jump into that. Nia was not the right lead, but I think everything else came out right. And the rest of the match was stellar.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of agree with you there. Now during the broadcast, they said, well, the reason why Nia started is because she can kind of take a lot more before the cavalry got in, and I saw that from Nia. I mean, she's a bigger girl, so she was able to deal with the 2-on-1s and all that sort of stuff before the rest of the group got in there. I would have loved to may have seen Bailey and Raquel started out, or something like that. But yeah, this match was awesome. And Rhea Rip. Let me stop. Look, I'm villain talk to me, my guy. This match kind of kicked off the night, and like Stacey alluded to, it set the bar exceptionally high. And I was impressed, man. How'd you feel?
I never thought I got 2 girls, right? And I'm a dad girl. I got 2 girls, 1 boy. And I never thought I would be watching wrestling with my daughter, my youngest daughter. And she's more into it than I am, which is insane, right?
Let's go, Abe.
She's like, Daddy, 2 hours until Survivor Series. Like, Daddy, 1 hour until Survivor Series. Like, she must have had alarms going off in her room, right? And then to watch that match with her, it just hit me in the feels, right? I think the match started off, I agree with Stacey wholeheartedly. The match started off so slow. Like, Nia I like Nia, but she can be very sloppy.
I want to like Nia.
Slow.
I want to like her.
I want to like her more, but she's until she gets going, until she gets to her spots, until she gets to the end, she's very sloppy in the middle. Like, and one thing that I hated about the match is the chair shots. They were just like love taps. Like, they couldn't bring it, right? But you take that away, you take a sloppy start out, Stratton needs to do something, because I'm not that I'm sick of her, but I like her so much. She works. She works so well. Please do something with her. Do something fast with her. All right, that's one. Bailey and Naomi can go. But like, I'm kind of getting bored with Bailey, Naomi versus Nia, so we need to switch that up, right? But the match as a whole, it was a spot match. Like, the build up until everybody got in the ring was really slow. But when everybody got in the ring and then they got to their spots, that's when the match really picked up. Raquel getting handcuffed, genius.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Genius.
Absolute genius. The way they did it, like Io with the fire extinguisher, and then like next thing you know, it was brilliant. Like, whoever produced the match did a great job with that, right? Io Sky is amazing. I said it, right? I said it to you guys last time we had a show, and I said she is amazing. I cannot wait to see her go with Liv Morgan. I think those two can put on a match, right? Liv Morgan, and I think I said it to you, Sirius or Coach. She is the MVP of 2024.
Yeah.
Hands down. Hands down. I love me some mommy, but she has figured it out how to be a really good heel. And she reminds me of a Ravishing Rick Rude and a Shawn Michaels in like 97.
I was gonna say like Shawn Michaels vibe.
Yeah.
She has it. Yeah.
She does give me HBK vibes a little bit.
She has that vibe.
I know.
Rick Rude
I know
in
that's
the
tough to
early
say.
90s,
I know that's tough to
right?
say,
In
but
the
like,
late 80s, early 90s, Rick Rude was the guy that would steal your girl, right?
Yeah.
All you fat, lazy, out of shape, like that guy, right? Liv is the girl that says, "I'm going to steal your man," and I did it to the baddest girl in the WWE. I stole her man. Like, and the other thing is, they need to separate from Judgment Day. Liv, Raquel.
We talked about that. We have talked about that time and time again. And yet, Triple H and
they are
trying to run that game back.
They are a reverse DX. They are a reverse DX from 97, 98. Put those three together in their own faction. Let them go. I can watch those three all day. I don't need the rest of Judgment Day. I'm done with those guys. Those are the two. But Liv Morgan is the MVP for me. Mommy finishing the match strong was great. The spots were great. Tip's spot got lost because Io had the trash can.
That's my one gripe. Whoever produced the match, why would you have both of those spots simultaneously? Because it's like Tiffy, like it was amazing. But
It was.
Io with a moonsault like in the trash can, of course, it's like at the same time. But it's funny because like you could see it happening, and it's just like, are they both gonna do this at the same time?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. But yeah,
And you didn't even get to see it until the replay.
You didn't get to see
Yeah,
you didn't see
You
it.
didn't see the replay.
You were transfixed on Io on the right, and then it's like, oh, look at Tiff. Like, it was crazy. But Io was the MVP in the match. I think Liv being last was a stroke of genius. You knew she was going to be last, but how she entered was smart. The beatdown with the bat, everything was perfect.
Brilliant.
The spots were really well done. This is a really good match.
Yeah. Aaron, talk to me, my guy, man. This
guys pretty
match,
much.
right.
Guys pretty much covered everything. It was very flat. I don't agree with Nia starting it off, but I'm going to first pay homage. I told you Bailey's new name for me is my tribal cheeks. I loved watching her. So with her and Nia starting off, I think when Io Sky came in, she kind of rejuvenated the match and brought it up. We were calling her trash can boo for jumping off of the cage. The way she was doing that was impressive. Stroke of genius with the way that Rhea handcuffed Raquel. So there was a lot of good spots in the match. The chair shots, like Barry said, were horrendous to start. It was love taps. That's the best way you can put it. When Io came in, the first one that she laid on somebody, I'm like, that's how this is done. So, but other than that, good start. I think they should have maybe moved that somewhere else in the card. I think that might have killed the crowd a little bit too at the beginning, having Bailey and Nia. I mean, like you said, we could clearly hear her calling spots out. I mean, first close-up camera angle, you hear elbows. Like, dude. So I get it, but it's what it is. You know, nothing's perfect, and that's what they do. But I mean, just wish there was a way we couldn't have heard that. But you know, other than that, I'd give it probably a 6 out of 10 with the way the match went.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Did anybody else speak on it? Coach, did you talk about it yet?
No, I mean, I got my points in here or there about the match. I mean, for the most part, I feel like I know how much you guys love the fake cash-ins, but I think this was a good fake cash-in where she was kind of like, what is she looking for in the trash can? And then it's like, oh, how did this get in here? You know, so I thought at least that was a clever fake cash in. So that's all I had. I want to add in because I know how much you guys love the fake cash in.
I think she needs to stop fake cashing in so much, though.
I hope she cashes in that main event.
It's just time to pull the trigger and be done.
It's time to do it. Like, I mean, you only get so many. You only pull that rabbit out of the hat so many times before it's just kind of like, who cares? You know, it's like, so you definitely see her doing cashing in sooner rather than later.
Yep. Well, I mean, they've been pump faking that for a while. So at some point, you got to pull the trigger on it. And I just like the thing is, the opportunity was there. Like you had both champions, you know, laid out. You could have picked your poison. And I personally, and this is just me being goofy, I hated the fact that there was a team with both women's champions and the Miss Money in the Bank on the same team. Like I felt as though that was kind of bad booking, especially if there wasn't a cash in. And then at the end of the day, they lost. So like, it was interesting that it was booked that way. It was interesting that nothing kind of came out of that, and now we are trying to figure out, you know, what happened. Like again, Corey made a good point. It made them all look weak. Like, how do you have both women's champions, the Miss Money in the Bank? You got, you know, Raquel Rodriguez, and you know, I mean, you got some heavy hitters on that squad, all of them with the gold, and the babyface team that can't get along with each other. We got so many question marks with the babyface squad. They go out there and kind of mop the floor with you. You know what I'm saying? There's still some bad blood between, you know, Bailey and Bianca. There's still bad blood between Naomi and Bianca.
And the little face off with Io and Bailey, because they got unfinished business too. I like that little wrinkle in the match as well. Yeah.
I just feel like as a whole, serious, the match was really good. It just didn't advance. any storylines. It kind of
That's another thing. That's
the
another thing.
storylines just stalled on this one.
Exactly.
Well, and the thing is, like Stacey and I were talking about it, after the match, like they're sitting there at the press conference. Nobody brought up Jay Cargill.
Nobody
brought up Jay Cargill.
That was the big miss. That's the big miss, because if you were going to write her out the way they did, you kind of had to do the who done it with Stone Cold, right? Who ran her over?
Well, I mean,
And
we'll get that. They'll put that quarter in the jukebox on Friday.
but you should have
I'm
put
sure
that
that,
quarter in
yeah.
and started that machine.
It started the machine.
last
Let that
night.
game marinate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
like-
you should have started that last night. It just they missed an opportunity. To
Yeah,
And this-
Tiffany cashes out, and then it's like, well, while Team Liv lost, I won, and then that starts another story. But look, I said, I don't know.
But see, here's my question
I
with
know-
that.
Good.
If she was to cash in mid-match, what happens? Does that
Match is
end the
over.
War Games? That
No, not
ends the War
mid-match.
Games match. But does it though? Does it end the War Games match altogether? And now it's a women's title match?
Well, no,
That's-
because
That's
well,
really
I
never
mean,
been decided.
I don't think they would have. I don't think they would have had her cash in mid match. I think I think it would have been after the match, because you had to look. Both competitors were just laid out there.
What I'm saying is they teased it in the middle of the match when Nia was
Right.
down.
Right.
So what if she pulled the trigger right then and there and cashed that title in, or cashed that contract in? What happens?
It's a match inside a match. It's like
It's a
she
match.
is
Right.
now the women's world champion.
Yeah, but
Right.
the War
yeah,
Games
but
match
they
still
would've-
goes on.
To Aaron's point, like it would have ended the match
I
essentially,
guess it would've
right?
been.
And even Corey,
Yes.
the announcer said it. Corey Graves said, like,
Yes.
if she cashes in, what happens to the match? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
technically, they're on the same team. So, like, I think they could have played that a little bit more.
Right.
But
yeah.
I think they missed that.
Yeah. There's a lot of misses there. So
Or even at the end.
Or even
Right.
at the end.
I would say, or even at the end.
Because
And
the
when
connection at the
Rhea
end.
got Liv, she could have jumped right in and cashed in, and that could have been a
That's
great
right.
ending to an already great match.
100%.
yeah. Speaking of that, it was about time that Rhea got her hands on Liv.
Mommy,
That spot was insane. Shout out
Mommy
to
looked
both.
good.
Shout out to both competitors for doing a thing there. Rhea with the mask takeoff, paying homage, like yeah. Rhea Bloody Ripley. That's all I'm gonna say. Salute to you,
Mommy,
Coach. Salute to you, villain. Salute to you. villain.
I
Salute
told
to
you that's my girl. Oh, sorry. What?
I understand your pain, my dude.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, listen, you got the tribal cheeks. I got
That's
mommy.
she said the tribal chiefs. I love you for that. Next up, man, we had a new USA champion, Shinsuke Nakamura. Finally, I guess they put gold on him, which I felt was interesting. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Versus LA Knight. I wanted to throw this around before I get my opinion on it. Aaron, man, what's your take on this whole ordeal? LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, how they did it, the whole nine.
So there's always one PLA we call the popcorn match. This was it for
Right.
me.
Mhm.
I was not the least bit interested in this. I think they've totally mismanaged LA Knight, how hot he was. I think this is a downgrade for him. I don't know if they're taking the gold off of him to give it to Nakamura just to strap him to the stratosphere somewhere. They're going to have to do something along those lines because otherwise they just ruined this guy altogether. I'm not a fan of Nakamura. I never have been, but I just think this was a waste of time, wasted 10 minutes. There was no reason behind it.
Mhm.
Like somebody said in the beginning, put KO on the card. KO would have been a perfect spot here. This was just, to my
Right.
opinion, a waste of
I
time.
would have loved to have seen KO and LA Knight go at it, but KO's busy
Yeah.
with what's his face. So
Cody.
Cody, that's his name. So we'll see how that pans out for me. I thought this was thrown together last minute. I do like this version of Nakamura. I mentioned that in the group thread. The sinister, the new intro music, everything about this version of him, I like. I just don't like the fact that it was a 3-week build, and all of a sudden you slap the gold on him here. Like if your game plan was to make him a champion and slap the gold on him, cool, no problem. I just wanted to throw it I want them here. To Aaron's point, popcorn match. There was some spots in it I felt as though both guys kind of did their thing a little bit. But out of the matches on the card, this was the one I didn't like. I hated the most. And so the question I have going forward is, what's next? Like, I'm not too sure what they do with Shinsuke now. I'm not sure what they do with LA Knight now. I'm not sure if LA Knight asks for some time off or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure, but I felt as though this was poorly done. I felt as though the build was horrible. And this was just something I wasn't a fan of, to be honest with you. Stace, talk to me.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. You can't go from hot matches with Carmelo, Andrade, and LA Knight, then all of a sudden that gets cut quick, and we're going to this. There's no build. You can't have a solid heel, solid villain without a little bit of runway, and there wasn't. I mean, I agree. You know that there's always a match I tell you I sleep through, and I felt like this is the one that I was dozing off because I had no investment. There was no time for investment, and y'all know, with being top notch when it comes to the long story, this wasn't even a short story. There was nothing there. And I know they were trying to find things for Nakamura to be, but this is just not it. You just can't go from chef's kiss for months with this amazing storyline with Andrade and Carmelo in LA to go to this, and then the belt's gone. It just, there wasn't enough.
Yeah. Villain, talk to me, my man.
I like Nakamura. I think they have misused him since he's been in WWE. I just don't think this was the time, if that makes sense. I feel bad for Andrade and Carmelo.
Yeah.
I felt like they deserved the strap more than Nakamura. Not to say he won't be a good champion. I think he will be. I like his new persona like you do, Sirius. I think everything is going to work. I think it was smart to get the belt off of LA Knight. I think he's hot, but he's not as white hot as he was. I feel like he's not stale, but he was kind of. I like him building to the belt. I like the road to the belt rather than him with the belt. Like
the whole thing with him and Logan Paul was pretty dope.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Like him chasing that top spot. Like
him, AJ Styles was nice.
Yeah, right. Like getting what he deserves, getting that respect, earning that pop is what I liked, or not liked, what I respected about Knight. Because I'm not a really big LA Knight guy. I've told you guys that before. But I respect his hustle, and I respect the fact that he got himself over when nobody gave a damn about him. And I think giving him the belt not gave him complacency, but like, okay.
Let me ask you this question, and then I'm gonna throw it around. So remember when Jey Uso won the IC title of Braun Breaker? Yeah. Okay, it was literally he had it for 2 hours, and he threw it back on Braun. Do you foresee that happening here?
They took it off of Braun as a lesson. Right. You know what I mean? Like that was backstage politics. And maybe there is a little bit backstage politics going on with LA Knight that we don't know about. Who knows? Because it's weird that I told you Carmelo is the next guy. He should have had the belt right now. Andrade or Carmelo. And I think Carmelo can go. I like Carmelo him as the US champ. Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, Carmelo can go.
He can go. And I think he deserved it. Either him or Andrade. So maybe there was something that was going on. I think LA Knight doesn't need a belt to get over. I think the other guys probably do need a belt to get over. So I think that's where it was all.
But Shinsuke though, that's the thing I'm having an issue with. Like, if
they've misused him so bad, Serious. Like, I feel like they just underutilize his talent. He's really good.
No, he's really good. Yeah, and they did misuse him.
He's a good technical wrestler.
Yeah. He's great, but again, this felt more. Again, I'll let you guys go in a minute, but this felt more like a. All right, let me throw you a bone real quick because we screwed you around. We haven't given you the opportunity to stand up there, so let me throw you one real quick. But we really don't want you to be, a champion. Like he was gone, changed his whole persona, came back, did this whole thing. I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura has been in the WWE for what, 20 some odd years now? You know what I'm saying?
It hasn't been that long. He's been wrestling for that long, but he hasn't been in WWE.
I'm exaggerating, but I mean,
you go from having the belts.
I got what you're saying.
The guy for over a year, and now you got guys getting the belt. You don't know when. So I think that kind of added to the unpredictable nature of the title reign. So.
But here's the catch. If they would have took the belt, and again, I'm jumping ahead, and I'm gonna come back to you, Coach. If they would have took the belt off of Gunther and gave it to Damian Priest, that would have made more sense to me. If they would have took the belt off of Braun Breaker and gave it to Sheamus, that would have made more sense because the stories match up, and I can follow the train of thought. For them to take the belt off of LA Knight and give it to Shinsuke Nakamura made no sense to me.
Yeah.
It made no sense. Coach, talk to me.
Okay, guys. They gave the belt to Nakamura because they could not give it to AJ Styles. Okay. We all remember what happened. AJ Styles came back. They had the confrontation. He got hurt in the match with Melo.
Yeah.
So they wanted to give it to a vet. This was supposed to be AJ Styles' kind of like last run, so to speak, get into this program with LA Knight and the guys and stuff like that. Had some amazing matches. He wins the title at Survivor Series, and then whatever, because AJ Styles has been very upfront about like this being his last lap, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And the injury has kind of like pushed that thing back. So I think like my mindset always been people like, why do you put Nakamura in this? Where does Nakamura come from? It's like he's a guy who has been back there. He's been back there. It's not like he's been away. He's back there. And they had to kind of pivot the storyline. And H had some time to think about who he would interject in there, because I just feel like if you go back, because again, we all talk about long-term storytelling. The reason why Nakamura won the belt because they couldn't give it to AJ Styles.
So when I put the strap on Carmella. Or Andrade,
that I'm not in the room, right? And I mean, look, we all know what happened back in '96. Why I'm not in the room anymore. Anyway, so it is a situation where I feel like, look at this. When I look at the storyline and stuff, and just look how they were setting this up. This was supposed to be LA Knight versus AJ Styles last night, and because of AJ Styles' injury, it wasn't. They had to pivot to this, and Nakamura, I like Nakamura. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and I just feel like this is a situation where, hey, we need to plug a guy in who's not doing anything. Oh, Nakamura's not doing anything. Let's put him in there. But I feel like Melo will get it eventually. Andrade, him and Andrade again, they never really finished their best of 7. We remember that. So it's like I can see a couple different places where this storyline goes. I don't know how long AJ Styles is going to be out, because I really do think he was supposed to be in this storyline. So maybe you set up where it's like him and Nakamura have had some issues in the past. Maybe you set up that match for the Rumble or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how long AJ Styles is out, but I was watching that and I was like, what's missing from this storyline? How did we get here? And it came to that because AJ Styles got hurt.
Well, again, if they fight or if they have a match or whatever, because it'd be okay. If it's a filler, cool, I got it. Also, again, I'm sitting here. I don't understand why they put that strap on him for the life of me. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, talk to me, my guy. How you feel?
The other thing I could think of is really what they're going to do is they're going to give Carmelo his match at main event, make Nakamura the transitional champion, and you're going to give LA Knight something to do with the next other champion that really has no clear-cut challenger next, and that's Gunther.
I don't think there's enough heat on Melo yet to give him the strap, and I don't know if I don't think you put LA Knight in that conversation yet.
It's just a possibility. I think there's no clear-cut direction for him right now. I think this thing with Priest is over. I don't see them dragging it out anymore. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
don't think they're dragging it out anymore. So I just think, in other words, maybe that's the only reason they pulled this off a night was to throw him into that pool. Maybe we get LA Knight and Gunther at the Rumble. Start building that feud now.
I think they're going to go in a different direction.
With Gunther or with LA Knight?
With Gunther, I think they're going to put Seth Rollins or Punk in there. I think probably Punk. I think probably last night I would have said Punk, but now that Reed is hurt, I think Seth might find his way in there, but we'll see what they want.
I think you're going to get Punk Rollins, to be honest with you. I think that's their next line.
I think that's Mania. I think they need to start
Punk
doing
Rollins.
that.
They set it up for Mania for sure.
That's enough for Mania, but we need to figure out what they're going to do with Gunther, and I would love to see Seth and Gunther go at it because Damien is now back into this whole Judgment Day beef.
Oh,
which
man,
leads
when I saw Finn Balor, I was like, "Oh, come on, man!"
exactly.
I was like,
Yeah. Let's talk about it because honestly,
since we're here, talk to me.
Cut and paste from SummerSlam, and it's
Yep,
unfortunate
yep.
because
That's the way to put
Ooh.
it, my dude.
it was
Who
a
I say?
clear cut and paste. It was like ChatGPT, can you re-give me the match from SummerSlam? And it just spit out everything beat for beat.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I think they did a good job building this match in reverse, kind of giving Priest the upper hand and giving Gunther the doubt, because I think it's smart because he was so dominant as IC champ and he's had a couple losses this year and it can mess with him. But then you took that goodwill, you took that build, and then you rinsed and repeated the whole match, and then you got Finn Balor involved, and I'm like, oh, man, like why did you do this? Like why? So I thought the match was old school. I appreciate that, but I thought it didn't work. It just didn't work.
No.
Stacey, talk to me.
It's too campy. I think we're all tired of it. I think we thought we were going to finally get past it, and then to see the video, the after shot, the fight afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just. Some things work well, like the KO Cody thing early. That was a great way to use it afterwards. This was not.
Yeah.
And honestly, Finn's face, his little fake scowls are just too anime for me. I just can't. I can't.
Dragon Ball Z, Stacey?
Yeah, I'm like this. You're supposed to be mad, not like you smelled something bad. I just can't with it. I can't. And you know I love me some Damien, so I'm just like you guys said earlier, we need to break them up. It's just pointless. It really is.
But I feel like they don't have anywhere else for Damien to go. Like that's what I think the problem is. Like they haven't figured out what
they could have. Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, and they obviously really like Priest, you know, and
he's good. He's good.
They're trying to figure something out with him, you know, because he's a tweener. You know what I'm saying? Because he was in the Judgment Day, but then now he's kind of broken away from that. So he's still kind of in the like, you know, like, do we like this guy? Do we not like this guy? Like, you know, he's in that weird like gray area that some guys are in, and it's just. I don't know. Like, I am tired of seeing it. I'm fatigued of this. It's like I said, when I saw Finn Balor come out, I was like, here we go. I immediately, a match that I didn't really have a lot of interest in, I was like, I'm out. You know.
Well, the thing is, like, I had a ton of interest in it. I drank the Kool-Aid. I put extra sugar in it so I catch diabetes. I was all in. I was all in. Same. You know what I'm saying? Because the way they built it, like, Damien was the aggressor. He was taking all the shots. He was coming in, slamming them in the tables and on all the things. I was like, yo, this is the shot. This is the spot where they take the strap off of Gunther, put it on Damien because, you know, he got screwed over. And this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting there watching this match unfold, and I'm like, uh-oh. Now his arms hurt. Now he can't do his moves and this, that, and the third. And he finally gets put something together. And I look out of the corner of my eye and I see the crowd getting up and doing some stuff. Like, oh, yeah.
Did anybody else feel like that ending was rushed? That I thought like Priest had like a for real injury. And I feel like the end of that match was they kind of sped it up a little bit.
There's something happened.
A little bit. Yeah, something happened on. Yeah, something happened on. Yeah. It wouldn't shock me if tomorrow we were watching it and they say something or later
comes out in a sling.
He comes out in a sling or something like that, and it's legit, almost like Fatu's injured, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
I think they probably keep him off TV until Rumble, and then he probably comes back, screws Finn Balor or something like that. Like I feel like they're gonna do if he's got like a legit injury or something like that.
I don't know if they will keep him off TV because if they're gonna walk this Judgment Day thing back, you got to have Damian Priest there to set it up.
Yeah,
you gotta have Damian Priest in there, you know, on the mic.
But they got the tag strap serious. Like they could do other things until then, right? Like they could figure out something else to do.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, if they're gonna walk this Judgment Day thing back, which again, all of us sitting here wants it to be over with. We want it to be done with, but if they're gonna walk this line back, they're gonna have to battle verbally or whatever, or get people's way somehow. Like it's not like Damian Priest has lackeys or anybody rocking with him other than Rhea. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you know JD's in a match with Damian, Finn's gonna come out and mess with him, or Carly's gonna come out and mess with him. So they have to build that some type of way, and they can't do that without Damian being the guy to build it. You feel me? So whether he's in a sling or whatever, he has to show up on Raw to do it.
Well, and to your point, you got to think about timing too, right? We've got Saturday Night Fights coming up December. And then, you know, we're right around the corner from Royal Rumble, but we've got between that the big Raw premiere. Mm-hmm. And then SmackDown goes to 3 hours. So you've got to figure out where they would build that before we get to a Royal Rumble, before we get to. So what does that look like for him? Because if we were any other time of the year, they're doing all their pre-tape shows coming up in the next few weeks. How do they build that to be ready for that?
Right.
It's timing. And right now there's just not timing for it.
Right. Anywho, since we're talking about this nonsense, talk to me, my man. How you feel?
This match, we're still on this freaking match. Dude, they need to fucking change this thing up. But
that's insane, man.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna back off what Stacey just said with the timing issue. I think I said this when I was with you guys the last time. They're putting too much product in too short of a time, and they're diluting the storylines, and they're rushing everything. They need to. I know they want to make their money. It's an enterprise. I get that. They got to scale this back a little bit. It's too rushed. There's too much going on, and it's a lot to keep track of, to be completely honest with you. So I really think they need to just kind of back off on some of this stuff. You know, we had Survivor Series last night, and literally 13 days from now is the big main event. And then another couple of weeks from there is the big Netflix premiere. And then a couple of weeks from that is Royal Rumble. Like, it's just boiled. It's just all thrown in. It's just rushed. And here, let's see what sticks.
You know what? It's funny because, like, nobody looks at it like it's being rushed, though. Like, Stacey and I were talking about this the other day. Like, they can have a PLE or something like that every other day and take it in my veins twice. I need it. But
because every storyline doesn't get resolved at a PLE. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's not. That's why it's rushed, but it's not rushed. Like, you don't have to rush it. Like, if you're gonna have the storyline of Cody and KO resolve that Monday night or a Saturday night main event, you don't need to rush it. That build has been really good, but like this build was rushed because you tried to throw this Gunther and Priest match in at Survivor Series. Like if anything, I would have taken that match out and put Cody and KO in. That's what I would have done. And put Gunther and Priest at Sunday night main event.
I'm not sure.
He's not wrong.
You got to sell Saturday night main event with the champ. That's the problem.
But Cody Rhodes is the biggest fake. But they need Cody Rhodes for because this is the big NBC return of Saturday night.
That's what I mean.
So you need Cody Rhodes on that card.
Exactly. But how do you not have one of your biggest 4 PLEs and not have your champ on it at all?
That's the problem.
They're taking a risk because they're saving them because they're really banking on this thing for Saturday night.
They couldn't even talk about the whole KO Cody thing.
Yeah, but now you got to drag that out another 2 weeks.
Right.
You know what I mean? What are you going to do next week and then the week after? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had a really good build. Like, that promo between those two was the epic. That should have went into the SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It was epic.
KO is Canadian. To not even have him do a promo, at least have him do a promo, for God's sake.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything with that. And that's what I mean. I agree with you, Zach. Like, you got to save that for main event. But then you rushed Priest, and then you just cut and paste this thing and put it together. Like, this was the worst match of the night. It really was.
It was a slow build. I still think that LA Knight Shinsuke was pretty bad, but this is a close second. I mean, honestly,
if you look at the IC match, serious, I thought that was the steal. That was
a show stealer. That was a show stealer. That was a great match.
Like, that was a perfectly clean match. No mistakes, no botched timing, nothing. Everything was spot on in that IC match. The only thing that I hated about that match was that it ended, because I could watch that match all night. That was perfect. That match was perfect.
It was poetry. It was poetry.
I mean, Sheamus is so good at quarterback in these triple threat matches.
Yep.
It is just like a sixth sense for him. He just has a feel for how to direct and how to quarterback these triple threat matches. Because every time you put Sheamus and two other guys at a PLE, it's just magic happens. You know, and he is the main component in that. So I big ups to Sheamus because like he just what he can do in these triple threat matches is just amazing.
Because he's smart. He's done it before. He's had to do it before. And he really knows how to really you had two heels. He was the only face. And he really kind of still quarterbacked it and put everybody in a good position to get off and get their shine. Ludwig was really good last night. Breaker, figure out what you want to do with the kid. Yeah, either make him a face or make him a heel. I think he can get over either way, but I would put him over as a face because the crowd loves him. Like you know what I mean? And like Henry said,
I think he's a better heel. I think he's a better heel.
I think he's a better heel, but I think he could have a better match with a heel. I think he could have a better match with Ludwig than he can with like Jay or with Sheamus. I think Ludwig and him as a rivalry is going to be is really good. I think you could put those two together and they can make some money.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the best part about Breaker though, is does he have to be firmly a heel or a face? Yeah. Because they've been interchanging him now for a couple months and he's selling it either way. Like he brings the crowd, he brings the hype. So he doesn't have to be firmly in one spot or the other. No, because he's navigating both perfectly.
Yeah, because even if he's a heel, when he's like any dogs out there, everybody's gonna be barking and stuff like that because people love stuff like that. Yep. So it's like even if he is a heel, people are still gonna respond when he calls, so to speak. So it's just like I think Breaker is perfect just what he is. It's like, he's just Braun. The crowd will decide what he is on a given night. Either he's a face or so let the crowd decide what he is. You know.
Yep.
But I think Kaiser needs to take his belt. Stace. I really do. I think Kaiser. I think he would be a really good heel champion heading into SummerSlam. WrestleMania.
We kind of already have a heel champion.
I think he's a better heel champ. I think he's a better heel
champion. You got Nia, who's a heel champion. You got Liv, who's a heel champion. The only
But I think a heel champion going into Mania and then having a face take it off him is a better story for the crowd. And I think Kaiser is such an unlikable guy that he would be perfect for anybody that like. You could put the strap on him and have him go up against Jay. You could put the strap on him, have him go against Braun. You could have him go against Sheamus. Either one of those three guys in a Mania would put butts in seats, and you would still hate Kaiser more than you would hate any other heel IC champ right now.
Yeah. Coach, talk to me, man.
I mean, look, I like that thought process. I really do. The thing with the IC champ moving forward, I feel like again, Kaiser. He's been told to be his own man, to go do your own stuff, whatever like that. And what better way to show Gunther, like, hey, yeah, I went and I got the IC championship. Now, with that settle in, maybe moving forward to where like maybe like Kaiser goes for Gunther or whatever like that. Because like now I am on man. It could be very similar to like Jay. How Jay was in the bloodline, but Jay got kicked and then proved that he was his own guy. I could do it on my own. And I could see Kaiser doing that. And it's just, moving forward. I like Braun Breaker as just Braun, like I said, and Kaiser is a true heel in the sense of the term, not like this guy that the fans kind of like, but kind of some people don't like him. And if they want to make the most of this situation, definitely let's put a rocket ship on Kaiser's back and see what happens.
I don't hate the idea of them, putting the strap on Kaiser. I don't hate it. I also don't like it. I like it. I like the strap being on Braun because he could do multiple different things. And he's so damn good. He's so good. And so, but that match really did live up to billing. I liked how Sheamus, again, like you alluded to, quarterbacked the whole thing, and got beat the heck up with the shillelagh, which I thought was interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Marks on that man.
yeah, it's just insane how he got.
But
beat.
like you sent me that meme right away, serious. When you see Ludwig at the back, and then Sheamus rises up behind him. That was an instant meme. Like this match was perfect. It was a perfect triple threat, man. It was so good. And like one of the guys in the chat is so right. Braun Steiner. Can we just change him? Can we just change his name? Can we just come on? Can we use his government? We know who he is. We know who his father is. You know who his uncle is. Come on, man. Second generation.
Like I kind of like that he steered away from it. Like you got him be your own
That's
guy.
his own mantra.
Nah, to hell with that, man. Nah,
you can look
know
at
who
him.
you are. Come on,
but
man.
you can look at him and clearly be like, yeah, I wonder who
That's
his
your
dad.
daddy.
I wonder who his dad is. I don't know.
Right.
You know,
right.
like you can literally look at him and tell like something different about this kid. You know, but no, I like the fact that it's Braun Breaker and not Braun Steiner. That's just me personally.
I kind of like it. Let the man stand on his own too. But anywho, with that being said, the Timu Bloodline lost. OTC had to put the ones up, you know, not a try with you know what I'm saying? Put the ones up. But this match was awesome. Everything that took place in this match. But I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to talk about that. And kind of, you know, wax poetic because we can talk about this particular match for the next 2 hours if we wanted to. There was so much. There was so much in there. But I want you to go and bat lead off here. How'd you feel, my guy?
I waited for this match for a year. I loved it. I was excited about this, just like Barry's kid, all over it, watching the clock. Great match overall. The spots were amazing. I'm going to keep this brief because I know you guys got a lot to say. I could talk about this for 3 hours too. The spots were fantastic. It was well timed. There wasn't many blips on the radar. The only thing I will take out of this is maybe I'm the only one that felt this way, but I think because we were spoiled last year with Orton's return and Punk's return, the very end of the match, I was waiting like, okay, what's next? Like everything was done. 1, 2, 3 went. Where is it? And then it just went blank. And I'm like, ugh. So, I mean, overall, Bronson Reed, kudos to that dude. His leg is probably severed into 1,000 pieces right now with the way he landed from the top of that cage. But kudos to him for doing that. I know Jimmy Uso broke his toe, whoop-de-doo, but Bronson Reed to spot of the night in that match for my, you know, for what I'm seeing. But yeah, I just felt like there was something else that was coming and it never came, which I guess spoiled. But overall, fantastic match. I absolutely loved it. I'm interested to see where this goes now.
Yeah, there's a lot that can be extracted from this particular match with all 10 players involved. Stace, talk to me, hon. I know how you feel about it, but yeah, tell the people.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I loved it. I too, just like Aaron said, I was waiting at the end. I mean, I know you and I were texting back and forth and we were waiting for the noise, right? Who's coming out? What's going to happen? Right. We were waiting for a turn, something, because it just is a great match. It was just a little too clean beginning to end. Yeah, we just needed a little something more. It was just too clean. But Bronson, I mean, my 10-year-old, just like Villain, you have your little one. My baby was screaming as he was climbing. I mean, it was just fire. So I think there were some really great points. I loved how they came out of the cages. I loved Roman stopping him. I mean, those moments, you know, we're like, who's coming out? Who's coming out? So that anticipation at the beginning was great. That was amazing how that played out. But again, we waited for the end and we were just waiting for just something more, especially as we've been talking about with the timing of everything coming up for the next, waiting for the beginning of Netflix. We just needed a little something, just a little something for us to chew on to be ready for the next big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Picture of the night right there.
Yeah. That's insane.
Oh,
that's insane.
Just the faces.
Chills.
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah. Villain, talk to me, my guy, man. How you feel?
It was my favorite match of the night, even though the women's War Games was really good, and I thought the Breaker match was the best match of the night. This was my favorite moment of the night, right?
Mhm.
I agree with you guys. I was waiting for something to happen, but I think they're saving it for Sunday night or Raw Rumble or Raw, right? I think they were saving it for Raw, to be honest with you. But I thought the storytelling was superb in this match because it was how united the new bloodline was, and then how fractured the OG bloodline was until the wise man came back and put them back together and say, hey, you got to do this together. Together, they can't beat you. But divided the way you were, you're going to get beat. And it was clear as day because the storytelling of Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy, and then Punk getting laid out, right, was because they weren't together on the same page. Like it wasn't until Jimmy, super kicked was it Fatu or whoever it was? I think it was Fatu to save Sammy. That they became on the same page because those two were the two that were always vibing together with the handshakes, right? And they haven't been on the same page. And then once those two got on the same page, it was like, all right, it's starting to happen. And then Jimmy and Jay, you got those feels from the old Osu, right? That got them on the same page. And then once the wise man put Punk and Roman together, it's like, okay, now we're on it. And it was like, that was the storytelling that I love. The spots were great. Fatu is my favorite. God damn, that dude is unbelievable.
He's so good.
It's so like good. how he, because at first I'm like, is he really hurt? I'm like, fuck. And Avery is like, Daddy, what's wrong? He might be legit hurt. But then like, it was like, he might have been a little tweaked, but how he sold it was perfect. It was like, that was the only way to take him out was his own injury, right? Because nobody else could take him out. It was perfect. It was just perfect, right? Yeah. And then like, Bronson, I hope he's okay. He'll up. That angle, I saw it in a different angle. It looked worse than I thought it was. So I hope it might be both ankles. I don't know, but I hope he's okay because he really put on a good show. But it was just the storytelling. Roman doesn't have to say a word. And he just gets his point across. He's figured it out for years. He's amazing. Punk really works really well. He's a student of the game. He gets it. The spots were so well put together to get to the point where Solo died on a shield. So to speak, it was just perfect. It was perfect.
Which was a juxtaposition from what we got in the women's matchup, which was right. Bailey giving clues, and it was all spotty and not put together. On the flip side, all 10 of these men were on it from the moment go.
The Tongas did really well. I was surprised.
I was shocked.
I feel like they're the odd guys out.
Tonga man. Look
they don't get enough credit, Zach. They don't get enough credit because I feel like they're like, you talk about Solo, you talk about Fatu, and then Bronson came in, and then the other two guys are just the background guys. It feels like, you know what I mean? Like they're the freaking Tito and Randy. The
Jackson 5.
Look. Kudos on Tongaloa for getting through a match without hurting himself or somebody else. So it's big thumbs up to him for that. Look at him. Look at you. I'm so proud of him.
I'm glad it was a good clean finish because now it's like, because I was thinking, where do you go from here? It's a clean finish. Like he didn't get his Falu back. The big boss, the final boss is still out there. What's the favor? That's the question.
What's the favor?
So there's so many ways it can go, but this is not the end because we've been talking about this in SummerSlam, right? Like we called it. They're going to build up to War Games. You're going to have a Civil War, blah blah blah. The Civil War happened. Now what happens? Like now you got to have after the Civil War in the 1800s, you had the reconciliation, all that. Do you have a reconciliation or what? Where do we go from here?
Do they all go back to their normal storyline? Does Jay go back to Raw and start chasing this, that, and the third?
Does Jay go back to mommy?
What happens there? Is there going to be a fallout now because Solo's team lost, and now is he going to be mad at? I mean, there's somewhere they can take this. But Coach, talk to me, my man. How you feel?
Yeah, I mean, this match was fantastic, and like the biggest thing that I saw was like how fractured the OG bloodline looked, as opposed to whereas like the new bloodline was so fluid. They were just such a unit, even with Bronson coming, like they just were all together. and just like you could see the points where it's like, man, look, seeing the Usos work together again like that, I was just like, oh man, I was like, look at that. I was like, it's like second nature. I was like, oh man, it's been way too long since
I did the rock thing. I was like, oh yeah, there they go.
Like I said, I get goosebumps just talking about it now. Just like, seeing them back together, working together like that was just like amazing. Look, I could sit up here all night and talk about Jacob Fatu and how awesome he is. I really could. I literally could. From where that guy was to where he is now, like big ups to him for that, because it's like he is fantastic. Solo is playing this role so well, and I feel like Solo isn't getting enough credit. It is like Solo has, you talk about from where a guy was to where a guy is now. Like Solo has proven in the ring, on the mic, and in every other avenue, he is a big time guy. He is ready for this. He is built for this. Solo isn't going anywhere. He is a top guy. Because I think it's one of those things where he sat around all these top guys, and iron sharpens iron. So it's just he has learned, he has adapted, and Solo has been just amazing. Like I said, on the mic, in the ring, just the psychology of the matches, the storytelling was fantastic. I'm anxious to see, what the favor is. What is the favor? Because CM Punk's like, hey, I need that favor done, and I think it might just be something where it's like, you become my wise man, you got to leave that alone or whatever like that. I need you to, and then that'll cause a beef between Roman and Punk, and then we go from there. So,
I mean, CM Punk did say, and again, Stacey and I have been talking about this for a couple weeks now. When Punk came back, he did say that he and Roman were going to meet someone right in here. So I think we're here.
Yeah.
So where they go where they go next, at least until it's time to move CM Punk to deal with Seth and Roman to deal with, the final boss and all that stuff. So there's a lot of places where this can go.
We all saw everybody waiting around, and it's like I said, we waiting to hear that music, waiting to see somebody, and it's just like we didn't get that. And I was just like, oh well.
Okay. Avery was like, so wait, it's over? No, it's not over. That's it. And I was like, no, that's it. We're done.
It was really over. And the funny thing about it is, again, I'll let you go here in a minute. I kept waiting. I think we all kept waiting for the final shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Like we knew the match was reaching its conclusion. We understood the personalities and the beef and the storyline and the potential for there to be a turn. Again, Stacey and I talked about it at length. Like, somebody's going to turn.
Yeah.
We didn't know who. Like, CM Punk doesn't like Roman. So that could be it. And then all of a sudden they get on the same page and CM Punk saves Roman from the tsunami. Oh, okay. So maybe the turn's not going to happen here. We see CM Punk looking at Roman. We see, Jimmy kind of giving smirks or whatever. Okay, so maybe since we saw the smirk from Paul Heyman on SmackDown at Jimmy, maybe that's a turn there, because I personally think that Jimmy's a better heel than he is a face. So maybe, this, but nothing came. So the match was over, and I'm like, okay, all right, where's he at?
I feel like now the only place to go is with the final boss. And I think now you have the new bloodline has to get the final boss to turn the tables, because now that they know that United, they can't mess with the OG bloodline. Now you gotta up the stakes. Now you gotta get the backing of the final boss. You know what I mean? Because the final boss didn't like when you was teaming with Cody, right? He didn't like
because he's mad at Cody. Remember that? Like he got some issue with Cody.
He didn't like that. So now the final boss is gonna go with Solo, because I love you, Solo. I love you, Solo. So yeah, that's where I think it's gonna go, and I'm here for it. And if you watch the press conference afterwards, Sammy said something very interesting that I think it's gonna tell the tale, because he was like, we can go our separate ways or we can stay together, but it felt like if they need me, we'll be there, right? So I think it's like if he throws up the bat signal, he'll get the OGs back. I think you can separate them. And
it's like the Avengers, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think you separate them. You can put them in their own mini little storylines, but when the boss comes back, that the OG's got to come back, and you got another fight on your hands. So
Yeah. Hey, talk to me, man. How you feel?
I just think with this favor, the only thing I'm going to say is I hope it does not involve Roman and the title. I think Roman needs to stay away from the title for a while. He's carving his own path. That dude has really figured it out. The last couple of years, he does not need a belt to be over with the crowd. He hasn't said much of anything, and that crowd's reacting to him. So he's got it down to a science. So whatever this favor is with Heyman and Punk, I hope it just has nothing to do with that. That's all I'm really going to say about it, because I think they're going to throw us a big curveball with this thing somewhere, something that we're not going to notice or even think about that's coming down the pipe.
I honestly think it's going to involve Punk in Seth and maybe a title thrown in the mix. That's my gut.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, again, what's speculated, and I know Stacey's jumping at the bit, so I'm going to let her go in a minute. In order for a title to be thrown into the mix, one has to hold said title. Neither Seth or Punk have a strap. So I'm not too sure how.
Seth and Gunther at Rumble.
He even said when the time comes, I'm going to ask for that title, that favor.
The favor,
and they said it. And Heyman even said in that cinematic promo on SmackDown, we have plenty of time to talk about that. Let's not worry about that. That's going to be down the road. So he's planting the seeds and putting Easter eggs out there for that already.
Stace, talk to me.
I mean, I agree, Aaron. You just can't. There shouldn't be a title. I mean, we all know, and I know Aaron hates when I say this. We know that it's not going to be the main title because Cody's about to flip, and you can't have Cody as a heel fighting with other heels for the title. So we know that's coming. That's why the KO thing is happening. That's going to happen pretty soon. I mean, I see that's sooner
Look how
than
mad
later.
he is right now.
I'm so angry.
I just need y'all to know I text him at random with that just to make his day bad.
Cody to flip? That'll break my daughter's heart, Stacey.
It's going to happen.
You know why he has to?
Yeah.
Do you know why he has to? Because as a champ, he has not been as big as he was getting up there. And we just talked about that earlier. LA Knight is not a good title holder. He's a good lead. Cody hasn't had
anybody to challenge him, though.
That's, I think, the bigger problem.
They have tried, right? They have tried. Look how many different things we've shopped right now, and nothing has come for it. And as the main title guy, he should have something that is stuck by now. And the fact that we've gone this far and we've shopped and reshopped, the thing that's done the best is this KO so far. But at some point, this story's got to flip. And there's a reason why the shirt says Kevin is right. So, and I know we're getting to something, and I know we'll talk about this another time, but Cody's going to flip. So that means that Roman can't get into that mix.
Remember the bus.
That's right. If Cody flips, he's on the same side with The Rock. So we can't cross these storylines anymore. They're going to have to stay separate. So if you're going to do something with a title, it's going to have to be where Gunther is, because they're going to make this completely different.
Stacey, remember what Rock said to Cody, though?
Go ahead.
We're going to make both our daddies proud.
Correct. Correct.
But if you, because you have to have Cody at Mania. Who do you put him at Mania with if he's a heel? Who are you gonna use?
Who says he doesn't? Who says he flips before that?
No, I mean, I think he'll flip before that. I don't. I mean, but who do you headline him with Mania with?
Orton.
Orton. Because as soon as Cody goes heel, Kevin's right. And who's been a lackey for the whole story? Randy.
Yep.
Randy's been caught in the middle from his two besties, right? His two ride or dies.
Gonna have 100 people chomping at him with this.
Or Cena. Cena's out there.
I mean, we've not talked about him yet.
Well, the thing is,
we can't see him yet.
If Cena is the play at Mania,
I think Cena's the play for Randy.
Bingo.
No, I think Cena and Orton have to be. That has to be Cena's last match.
Yeah,
that has to be the last match.
Orton's going to beat Cena and retire him.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree, Steve. That's the big pot for Survivor Series. That's his last match next year, and that's Orton Cena. So that'll be saved till then.
Oh
yeah. But this whole heel,
I don't know.
This whole heel Cody thing is making
they got to do something with Cody. I just don't know. I don't know where you go to
you don't turn him though. You don't turn him. Like, there's no way you can turn Cody. Like that's the same as saying, okay, you know what? John Cena is now a heel in the early 2000s. There's no way.
There's
Yeah,
plenty
because
of
like,
ways
what
to
did
turn
Cody
him.
do that was so egregious? I mean, teaming with Roman, he didn't want to do it. He kind of got forced into it by Nick, right? Nick Aldis. So like, I understand. I like the fact that Cody's playing this as like, oh, poor Kevin. Oh, it's always somebody doing something to you, and never you taking accountability of you getting in your own way. And I kind of like that part of the story. I don't know. I could see him turning heel. I just don't. I don't think
I
he
can't. I cannot for the life. Again, Stacey's been telling me this.
I'm going to throw the
past
dagger right through
6
your heart
years.
right now, Aaron, and I'm going to tell you something.
I hate you.
Cody, part of the terms of Cody's return were probably, I need to finish my story. I need to get this belt. I need to do X, Y, Z. So they did that. It's a nostalgia run. They're paying homage to his father. They did that. They had his Mania moment. Now they're going to spin this like he's the spoiled little rich kid that's entitled, uses his daddy's name to get involved. I'm telling you, when I was with you guys the last time, that fight outside the bus was staged for a reason.
Oh,
That's going to come out.
Yeah, we know that.
There's going to be a conversation that was had. Kevin's going to be right. Cody's going to get flipped and have a ton of people after his ass.
Yeah,
And you're already seeing the kick.
Go ahead, Stacey.
I was sorry. You're already seeing the kicks of that because you've seen this super smiley, super sweet Cody from Jump, right? It's I'm making my story. He's all smiles. And the last 3 promos have been hard. He went hard at Kevin last week. And so
Because he had to, because he hurt his best friend.
But Aaron, nobody's seen that, right? All we've seen is bubbles and sunshine. He's the sweet American dream. He's the American nightmare, all the great things. And now he's going hard. And people are like, wow, he's got that in him. He's got it in him, and we know he does.
American Nightmare's gonna live true.
That man
he
ain't
had
wore
the
a
IC
suit.
strap years ago.
He hasn't worn a suit in 2 weeks. Something's up. You know what I'm saying? He been coming out in his ring gear and like that man ain't wore a suit in 2 weeks. He's ready.
I'm
he's
ready
ready
for
he's ready for
it because he's pissed off because his buddy got hurt. I mean,
or he's mad that he sees right through it.
Let's keep it
honestly. The only way serious that I would turn Cody heel is that he made a deal with the devil.
Yep.
Like he made a deal with the final boss,
which is very possible. Which is very
and like when the final boss, the last time you saw him on Raw, he's like, he whispered something in his ear, and we never got a resolve to that. I honestly think the way you do it is you say, "Remember what I did for you at Mania, son. Remember, you know what I mean?"
No, that's what I said earlier. And Cody even said that when The Rock talked to him, he said, "We're going to make both our daddies proud." That's what he said in his ear.
Yep.
Okay, so again, you have The Rock as a heel. You have Cody as a heel. How in the world does that make their daddies proud?
Because
money.
One runs the company. Is the top man in the company.
That's right.
I don't. Again, I have
both of their daddies didn't get that strap, right?
I really do have a hard time picturing a heel Cody.
One part of it's already complete.
You do because you remember it. You remember it from Legacy and beyond. Like you.
Yeah, I mean, I do.
Yeah,
it's just, I just have a hard time picturing a heel Cody.
I mean, look, let's not forget. Like they did kind of like mention like Cena's gonna be in the Elimination Chamber match. You know. So I'm interested to see where that goes moving forward and how who the champion will be, you know, in the Elimination Chamber match. Because like they kind of I don't think they let the cat out of the bag. They kind of like, hey, Cena's gonna be at Elimination Chamber, everybody. You know, so it's just is
he gonna be at the chamber or in the chamber?
He's gonna be in the chamber.
I think he's gonna be in it. Yeah, he's gonna be in it. He's definitely.
They just told you Cena's not winning the Rumble, then, so we already know when he comes in, he's out.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, is he gonna come back and win the Rumble? But I think he's going. I don't know. He might win Elimination Chamber. Maybe we'll see.
I think he'll win the chamber. He'll go to
break that record.
Yeah.
Do you want him to break the record at Elimination Chamber or at
no,
Mania?
Mania.
No. He'll break the record at Mania. He'll get a strap at Mania.
I hope not.
He'll get a strap at Mania.
I don't
It's
think
like Tiffy's cash. It's like Tiffy's cash in. Just break the record and be done with it already. Enough talking about it. Just be done.
Yeah. So, well, with that being said, man, we have reached the tail end, man. I love doing these shows with you guys. Be on the lookout for the next one after main event. We're going to be doing Slammies that night. So definitely be on the lookout there. That was an
Mommy Award.
that was the idea brought to you by your boy Villain. So we're gonna do Slammies that night, so kind of be on the P's and Q's there. But with that being said, I'm gonna get you guys out of there and let my man Aaron go watch the last little bit of this Buffalo snow beat down right here. Aaron, give me a plug and a close up. Give me a plug and a close up and shut it down, big dog.
Guys, thank you so much for having me again. I really enjoy my time with you as always. I look forward to doing the Slammies. Again, we went from the tribal chief, my tribal cheeks. I had a really good time last night. So, boys, thank you. Stacy, was very nice meeting you. Thanks again, my friends.
All right, buddy, man. Thanks so much. And man, check out his show tomorrow night. Not in the Deep Thoughts, man. They got their wrestling show tomorrow night, and then they got a bunch of other shows lined up, man. I love partnering with those guys, man, doing big things, man. So be on the lookout for more shows, collaborating with those knuckleheads. And I say that respectfully. They're a bunch of knuckleheads. I love them to death. Stace, man, you know what to do, man. Give me a plug and close out as you go get out of here, girl.
You know, I love it. Thank you so much for having me. You know, you're going to hear it all the time. I'm sure
Yes,
there'll be
ma'am.
millions and millions of texts. Love y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Stace, man. Thank you so much for
Stacey.
coming out.
Nice meeting you, Stacy.
Yo, man, Coach, you know what to do, man. Give me a plug and a close up as you get out of here, big dog.
All right. Not really much to be said. Another wonderful wrestling show. Yeah, like we need to kind of lock down like categories for the Slammies. You know, just 5 or 6 categories, whatever, like match of the year, feud of the year, stuff like that. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later. But once again, love doing these wrestling shows. It's fun to like, you know, get in here and theorize and talk about like storyline and stuff like that. But I am going to bed, so I am. I will see you guys Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
See the link, share the link. Peace.
Thank you so much, big dog. Villain, you know what, man? It was all a dream, and here we go doing wrestling shows, my guy. Talk to me, man. Give me a plug to get out of here.
Who would have thought, man? I hadn't watched in so long, and I'm just like back in it. And now I'm doing shows with this guy because I love you, serious. I love you, serious. But man, it's so much fun, man. I love doing these shows with you guys. Shout out to Aaron. I love that guy. He comes with some stuff, makes you think. Stacy, I appreciate her coming through. You're a regular now, so you're always on the show, no matter what. So and coach is coach, man. Powering through, man. He just comes with it. I love it.
Under the weather and everything, he brought it today, man. Shout out to him.
And everything. I love that guy. So I'm just glad we're doing this. It's a lot of fun. You know, because we could talk sports all day, but this is the fun stuff that we just love. The business has changed so much that we could just sit here and theorize and come up with storylines and really get real talk and behind the scenes and talk about, you know, not, you know, really get deep into like, you know, the soap opera, but just the business of it. And I love that. Yeah. So I appreciate you, man. And we'll see you on Tuesday. Share the show. We'll be talking all things sports, and we got a lot to chop up.
We got a lot. We got
a lot going on. So you know, get your hard hat, strap in,
lock in, man. We got college football. We got the CMC season-ending joint that just took. We got a lot to talk about, man. Pray for Larry. Pray for Larry, man. Pray for Larry, man.
Yeah, but
so, hey, big dog, man. I see you on Tuesday, man. It's your boy Sirius repping that 412 and the 703, man. Such a pleasure to do this show with you guys on a regular basis. Again, if you see the link, share the link, man. We're doing big things in big places, man. And again, it's a hobby for us, man. We love doing this. On tomorrow, man, the Pittsburgh Steelers recap show will be going live tomorrow. My father and I and a bunch of other Steelers fans are going to be recapping the last 2 weeks of Steelers football. One in those 2 weeks, believe me, I got a lot to say, and it may get active. Y'all know how I get down. So it may get active, which is going to be weird because my dad's a preacher. So anywho, it's going to be fun. And then on Tuesday with the rest of the group, our Executive View flagship show. Again, we're going to be going through everything as far as NFL. We're going to hit some NBA stuff. The college football season has come to an end. So by the time we could go live at 9, those bowl games and those seedings will be set. I do know Penn State plays Oregon, Big Ten Championship. Thank you so much, Michigan. Got ourselves to the dance. So we're looking forward to doing that. With that being said, again, thanks to my friends at Nonsense and Deep Thoughts, man. My man Aaron, Corey, Justin, my my boyfriend, man. You know, Jared, love that guy, man. Peace out to my own heart. Love that guy so fucking much. With that being said, God bless. And the Buffalo Bills suck. I see you in the cut, Aaron. Peace.